Hey, welcome back to our speaker series for the FAA 25th International Astrology Conference coming up in January 2025. Today we have our speaker, Julija Simas. Am I saying that right? Julija Simas?
Yes, yes, yes.
Excellent. And she will be presenting two talks for us. She'll be coming up from Melbourne.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. It's great to be invited.
Thanks for dropping by. We are going to have a little chat about the conference, and then we're going to get Julia to share with us a little more about the two talks that she is presenting for us at the conference. So, as mentioned, 25th, so quarter of a century, this conference will be. It's the official
All right, the
astrology. Yeah,
silver
25.
anniversary.
That's it.
Yeah,
Silver
all
anniversary.
right.
And it's going to be held at the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, at Surfers Paradise, which is right on the beach, well, a couple of blocks back. Beautiful, beautiful, stunning beaches, beautiful nature in a hotel. So we'll have the aircon, we'll all be together, which is such a bonus. You can find out about tickets, the schedule, it's all up already. The speakers, bio, topics, all there, the location, and pick up your ticket by November the 30th because the ticket booth closes November 30 because it's at
Yeah, wow.
well,
Mhm.
yeah, so they need to organize. So head over there, faainc.org.au. January 16th to 20th, 2025 is when we will be seeing you there and listening to Julia's talk. And we're going to talk about them now. So there's two talks. The first one being the fractal nature of astrology, connecting yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I'll just say here, that's the subtitle of this conference. So, Julia, you have responded directly. Let's hear about this topic.
Well, when I was invited, it was lovely to be invited, with some reshuffles that went on. But knowing the title yesterday, today, and tomorrow, I have worked on this lecture topic over the years. And to me, astrology is the most amazing tool to connect yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And so when we and I kind of put it at the end of movies, astrology connecting, the past, the now, and the future. And so the fractal nature of things is the same kind of thing. So a fractal is the beautiful patterns that you see behind me, although that's computer generated, that we see all throughout nature, all throughout even, the scientific world, and again, can be computer generated and stuff. But the thing is that the patterns that are created through our, let's say, or live in our astrology charts are all representative of something in the past, like wherever our Venus is, there's a phase she belongs to and a conjunction with the sun that came before, and that's the cycle we were born into. We were born at a particular season that's a cycle of the sun, everything, or a moon cycle, full moon, new moon, what have you. So everything in our astrology chart represents an ongoing cycle, right? We use progressions as part of the big story in our charts, and then we've got this other sort of fractal part of it. So we can see fractals in so many aspects of the astrology that we do, right? And so the beauty about putting it together, I mean, I developed this kind of, let's say, thinking over the years because I was always into fractals. They helped me explain astrology to myself. And I think, and it helped me explain astrology to other people over the years as well. Like, why does it work? Well, why does nature work? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, why does nature work? These are the kind of things that you can sort of explain when you're talking about astrology as more of a natural process, as opposed to something that's kind of, come from nowhere, although some people sort of believe that. I just see it as a very much a natural process. Of course, it's been so developed and maybe overdeveloped in so many ways, and techniques and all that kind of stuff. But the if we're looking at a chart, let's say for right now, as I was saying before, it has the past involved and it has the future involved right at this point. And in let's say chaos theory and explaining fractals and that kind of thing scientifically, They say that that's like the raw material, right? The raw material that we start with, we could say is our birth chart. But as we know, we go back into family histories, we go back into past lives, and then we, go forward into the future. We want to know, what's happening in 5 years or next year's or next week, using astrology. So it's just been a really great way for me to understand that. Like I have the Cosmic Intelligence Agency, and the logo has the fractal on it,
Yeah.
right? So it is part of the movement of astrology, that it represents that astrology is never static, it's always alive. So everything's buzzing. Everything's buzzing, if we look at an astrology chart, nothing is just static and, moving like this. It's alive, and it's taking in and it's breathing in. And then there's the thing called the feedback loop. So if you, let's say you were a plant and you knew that you were producing these kind of particular leaves, you will maybe make a different kind of shape, not completely, because the pattern will be exactly, the old pattern will still be there, right, in the new pattern. So it would be recognizable as the same pattern with a little bit of a difference. And I think that's what we do with astrology as well. Like as we grow to understand it, or like every time we look at, let's say, our Sun-Venus conjunction or whatever it is, every time we read something about it or experience something that we connect to that point, we are doing a fractal feedback loop, right? We are taking in information and we are experiencing that for the first time or in a different way that hasn't happened before. So these are the things I'm kind of going to get into. And I think especially for people that, let's say, have a hard time explaining to others maybe why astrology works, or why they love it, or why they do it, or how profoundly connected it is in our lives. These are the things that I've found to answer some of those questions, right?
Very
Like I'm not a scientist, but I'm putting it together. Um, yeah, for that reason. So it's been very helpful to a lot of people. I think when people start studying astrology, they're also a little bit mixed up. Like what's happening? They love it, but I think personally, we need to find the evidence or the clarity that helps us then practice it a lot sort of more or clearer or with confidence.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've kind of developed this talk to also help ourselves be more creative,
Yes.
more involved with the work behind it all, or ourselves, like not leaving it just up to the
Yeah.
old-fashioned, that's my chart, that's what it says. I mean, it's very few people that work like that these days.
Yeah.
Our consciousness at whatever point will guide the astrology that we're looking at anyway,
Yeah.
right?
So
So,
being like present and participate the process.
yeah,
Yeah.
co-create with what we see. And it does help you become very much more creative about things for sure.
Mhm.
And otherwise, yeah, you're kind of stuck in patterns that are not good for you.
Yeah.
As
So which pattern do you want to replicate?
Yeah, and some, of course, some of them are really, fantastic. So these patterns are working, and others you have to change. Not saying that you can't change your chart and your birth time, right?
Yeah.
You can't say, I don't want that Venus square, Saturn. You can't change that, but you can change the pattern that you're seeing,
Yes. Yeah.
right? By being conscious and aware and recognizing, what you're putting in the feedback loop as well. Like
Mm,
as we know, you put in fear, and what kind of comes out, right? So there's
absolutely.
this kind of idea that we're all kind of sitting on the edge of chaos all the time with the past and the future. We're right in the middle and we're creating as we go. So it's that kind of idea
I
that,
like I'm trying to think of what you would call that. And I just think your business and agency is so well named. It's cosmic intelligence of nature, really, or what's behind that. So this is where we're
well,
going.
yeah, using
Yeah.
using it all,
Yes.
using it all to help ourselves have a better life, create, understand ourselves, understand the world. And so, yeah, again, it really connects us back to a more natural sort of rhythm of astrology that I think again, the reasons it works is because it's so embedded, as the more primal kind of, let's say, version of astrology, the cycles and everything that we've come to, let's say, make more, more intelligent or more refined, let's say,
Yes.
for the centuries and millennium. Yeah.
That sounds amazing and very also Pisces, like bringing it at the end of the
We all do what we love, don't we?
We do, we do. That sounds brilliant. So that's talk number one. And talk number two is introducing the Venus star cycle for personal and mundane forecasting. And I have to say, this is one of Julia's niches. So bringing a lot of experience with this too. Tell us
Thank
about it.
you. Yeah, so look, it's great. I was very excited that they picked this one because although many people are using the Venus star and stuff these days, it's never been done at an FAA conference, so it's about time.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I mean, you're always kind of aware of what's going on and stuff, but it's never been presented as at an FAA conference. I have done it online, I think, during COVID or something for the FAA, but anyway, so I mean, the Venus star cycle was the thing that sort of really, configured that there's, this fractal nature in astrology as well, because it's this amazing five-pointed star that makes this beautiful pentacle and rose that continues to, to sort of move endlessly through our charts, right? So I'm going to be going through the mechanics of how that star is made, because once you know it's made, you can never kind of forget it, right? That you will, like, I use the Venus star now as the next star point is coming up. It's the Aries star point around 2 degrees of Aries, so very close to the equinox. And I use them as eclipse points, so like eclipse points, because it is a Venus Sun conjunction, and they happen every 9.5 months. So they have very much to do with a creation cycle. And then if there's only 5 points that you have to follow at any particular time. So if you know where they are, it's like, oh, next Venus star point there, next one there, next one there. And it's almost like you put them in the chart automatically. Of course, now software will do that for you. And they're a real focus point into whatever's happening in someone's life, or you're seeing clients for consultations. Using the Venus star will actually gather themes, because Venus is, she's a conduit of connecting things, connecting the dots, somewhat like the moon, always has the last say in things. Venus connects things that you wouldn't see, right? And I think she's very much overlooked, because we often just hear about her as being, the love goddess and relationship and stuff. She connects everything to me in the astrology chart, right? Like, as in, if she's connected, there's something that has to be very much paid attention to. And of course, it's not just all, roses and beautiful stuff. Like, Venus brings a lot of, heartache and, all those things about life and love and living to our, to the forefront. So being aware of the patterns of Venus in that sense in our charts and our lives is done through the Venus star. And then from the mundane perspective, many of us have been now following the themes of every star point, right? So the Aries star point has particular themes, like, let's say, the last time 8 years ago when this star point happened, just at the retrograde, so 8 years ago, Trump was elected, of course, and the pussy hat riots, the pink pussy,
Yes.
that all sort of came
Yes.
through, right? So it is very much about a rise and a voice, not just for women, but we have seen women more involved during the retrograde thing. But, as we know, 2025, with all the 0 point action around zero Aries,
Yeah.
Venus is a big part of that as well, right? What is rising up for the individual to have a voice, to have something to say. Again, Venus connects so many things to do with culture, right? Trends and what people want to shout about and, express and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a very interesting Venus retrograde. If we remember the last retrograde in Leo. I mean, it just pulls together so much that's going on in the world. So I'm going to be talking about all those things and how to keep an eye on, using the Venus star, and then, looking for themes and patterns that sort of would relate to your own life and that type of thing on a
Fantastic.
bigger scale.
That
Yeah.
is fantastic, and what a gift, and what timing. That is, I didn't think of that with it being so early, and yeah, sort of dovetailing into all of this early change action. So
Yes,
very
yes,
interesting.
yes.
So two great talks from Julia. Make sure you get over to the FAAinc.org.au to check it out and book your tickets. And before we go, we've been hearing from our esteemed speakers on what is your MO, like why are you bringing these talks, and what's really is your drive to being in astrology and doing what you do.
Oh wow. Well, I suppose I've maybe said some of the things already, but in a sense that it gives me a great connection to the life I'm living, the purpose, the sort of energy behind things, to be able to see what's lacking or what needs more attention. And of course, we pass that on to our clients, during consultations, and it's a really great honor, I think, to be able to guide people with astrology as well. And look, I love research. I'm a bit of a nerd. I need to write a book.
Dude, not
And
many.
yeah, and I put a lot of time into looking at things perhaps a little bit differently than not the norm. I don't want to say the norm because there is, why does it have to be? No, but I do read books, but I've stopped reading astrology books. I only read them now and then, because I like to process my own sort of thoughts and sort of see things. Of course, we look up and research all the time with other people's work, but yeah, it's kind of breaking ground that maybe no one has looked at before. So that sort of excites me or keeps me going, with astrology work. And yeah, it's endless.
It
It's
is endless,
endless.
but we do all seem to find a niche, and you definitely have a very strong flavor about yours, and there's some real directions. Although obviously you can do a broad range of astrology, there's definitely a strong niche that you've been building over time. So I mean, it'd be great if you did a Venus cycle book. That would be incredible with the
Yeah,
frame.
look, I've got all the
Amazing.
info, and I just need to find the time to do it. It's really like that.
Yeah,
Anyway, I will.
it's a
I
lot.
will, I
For
will.
now, we can hear this amazing talk, and it sounds like they both go together really well and build on each other. So come to
Yeah.
the FAAinc.org.au conference. Ticket booth closes November 30, 2024. Conference January 16th to 20th, 2025 at the Gold Coast. We look forward to
Come
seeing you.
along. Yes, come along, everyone.
Have a great day, everyone, and see you at the Gold Coast.
Bye.